Celtic have made it title 53. They might have been the last team in Scotland to win their respective league trophy. However, better late than never. Celtic are champions of Scotland. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Football. And unfortunately, we are here to talk about Celtic winning another league trophy. Their second trophy in the league in a row under Ange Postecoglou. It takes them now to 53 titles. They are only 2 titles behind Rangers in terms of Leagues One. And then, of course, if they can win the next 2, it will be a battle for 56, which I think would be interesting to see. I'm not saying I want Celtic to win the next 2 league seasons, but if we're going into, what would that be, the 2026-2027 campaign? If we go
yes, I believe it would be.
No, the 25-26. If we go into the 25-26 campaign with both Old Firm teams going for title 56, I mean, what a season that would be. I mean, you talk about high stakes. Could you argue that would almost be important as the stopping 10 in a row for Rangers? Stopping Celtic, overtaking them in terms of league titles won.
I would disagree. For the simple reason is 10 in a row will take you 10 years. I feel like, say Celtic win 56, yes, Rangers are 1 behind, but Rangers then could go 2.
Yeah, but I mean, how long have Rangers held this record that they've had more league titles than Celtic? I mean,
exactly.
It's been more than 10 years.
No, but
that's my point.
You can look at it for both ways, but to me, I think 10 in a row is bigger because it hadn't been done before.
Yeah, but Rangers like to brag about how they've got the most successful team and all that stuff, most league titles.
Well, you know what, right? No need to fear because in Michael Beale we trust.
And Michael Beale we trust. But anyway, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Celtic.
Do you trust Robbie Neilson?
Stephen A. Smith, mate.
Exactly.
We're here to talk about Celtic's league winning season. Alrighty, so we're going to look through Celtic's 2022-2023 season. We're going to try and see the key points and where this title was decided. Although, I can tell you where it was decided. Probably the opening day where Gio Van Bronckhorst was in the Rangers job and Ange Postecoglou was the Celtic manager.
That's pretty much it, isn't it?
But we can see here that Celtic did indeed start the season strong. 2-0 win against Aberdeen at home. Followed it up with 3-1 wins against Ross County, a 5-0 against Kilmarnock, 2-0 against Hearts, 9-0 against Dundee United. And at this stage, I mean, the 9-0 was impressive, but we also knew that Dundee United were pretty shit. So yeah. It's like you thought, right, that was a good statement for Celtic. That was a big performance, but can they do it when it matters? Can they do it in the important game? Can they beat Rangers? And you're damn right they could beat Rangers, and they beat Rangers in pretty convincing fashion, to be honest. 4-0 in the opening Old Firm game.
It's probably the easiest Old Firm that Celtic have had.
Under Ange Postecoglou?
Yes.
Well, easily, yeah.
I mean, the 3-0 at Parkhead in, February last year, it was easy, but I think there was just an element, this one, that Rangers should have been up for it. They knew what they expect.
Yeah.
And they didn't. John McLaughlin's arse went.
I know this is controversial.
Tav went.
I actually think the title was over at this point.
No, I agree.
I think Rangers had already dropped points, hadn't they?
Yeah,
What were Rangers behind?
I think they're only 2 points behind. They drew with Hibs. Remember Morelos Lundstrom get sent off?
Yeah,
I said that Gio had to go while the gap was at 2 points for this league table to honour us the amount of title challenge.
I can understand why they didn't get rid of Gio though, because I mean, literally, if he had won this game at Celtic Park, Rangers would have went top, if I remember correctly.
No, of course, yeah, I get that, but after the Celtic game and then the Ajax game, he had to go, Gio. But it's about Celtic, that's not Rangers.
He did. But Celtic, after beating Dundee United 9-0, then beating Rangers, they followed up with a 2-0 defeat against St Mirren and Paisley. I remember that game well. O'Hara and Ayunga with the goals within 10 minutes.
Getting the victory. St Mirren?
For St Mirren, yeah. What was your thoughts on this? I remember watching it.
Yeah, you know what? It was probably one of the first times since Celtic's Ange have been, cemented at the top where they've actually been the worst team in a game and they've actually lost. I think there's been times they've been under par and they've still scraped it or whatever or won, but here it's one of the few times they've actually
deserved to lose.
Yeah, and lost.
I agree. Just they didn't turn up, and you can't make excuses. They had a good team out against St Mirren. St Mirren were just the better side in this game, so it is what it is. And then they followed that up with back-to-back 2-1 victories against Motherwell and St Johnstone, 2 teams that were really struggling.
And if you remember, the St Johnstone guy went down injured. And
I didn't kick out. It was the last kick of the game. Yeah, Giamakis, 95th minute. after St Johnstone equalised, the St Johnstone player went down injured. Celtic didn't kick out of play. And, I mean, these two games were like...
Well, I'm nothing against Celtic not kicking out of play.
No, I agree, but, like, I mean, I think you'd expect more for Celtic. I mean, you'd expect a response after losing to St Mirren. In my opinion, sneaking 2 wins against two teams that were... At this stage, we were saying these two teams were going to finish bottom.
No, I absolutely.
So, I mean...
Look how quickly it changed.
Yeah, changed very, very quickly. Then they went on to beat Hibs 6-1. Then, obviously, we remember the Hearts game, 3-4.
Good game.
I think Hearts should have got something out of that. They didn't, though, but whatever. And then it's just win, really, all the way up to the new year. I mean, just, Celtic were winning before the World Cup. They were winning after the World Cup. However, they didn't win in Michael Beale's first Old Firm game. They could only manage a 2-2 draw. And I would have to say, I think that's the one Old Firm game where I would say Rangers actually were the better team. And I think some of the Old Firm games this season have been close. But I think Rangers actually legitimately did deserve to win that day.
Yep, but then a stupid mistake in the 88th minute cost them.
Until about the half an hour mark, Rangers were shit. And Celtic were dominant, but ever since Joe Hart made that mistake at the back, I felt like Rangers just took over and were the better side. So, but a draw, and I mean, if Rangers were going to win the league, I think that had to be the start. The gap was 9 points at this stage. I mean, it's not even that. It's not because the Rangers needed to close the gap. I just think you needed to do something to maybe try and put Celtic after stride. Celtic were unbeaten since the St Mirren game. Maybe a Rangers win here could have affected Celtic's confidence. Didn't happen though.
In the cups as well.
And Celtic, as we know, look at that. Since that Rangers game, like they went on to follow up with a shitload of wins in a row. I believe it was 13, including more wins over Rangers, that 3-2 win in April. I mean, that just, if there was any hope of the title, it just disappeared after that. It literally died. Then Celtic did draw against Motherwell, thanks to Kevin Van Veen ripping Greg Taylor's arsehole apart, if you remember that one.
Yep, brilliant, lovely wee goal. Get
John Beaton was the referee. Even he couldn't help swing that one in Celtic's favour.
He's a Rangers fan, John Beaton.
Well, then we had, I'm not even going to talk about that Hearts game yesterday, fucking robbery, like.
It was a robbery.
Now Celtic have 4 games left, so I mean, that's how Celtic have basically wrapped up the league. Well, they have wrapped up, the league's done and dusted. The only thing left to be done is for Rangers to officially put a bow on it and hand it to them next week when they play.
That's pretty
Guard
much
of Honour.
They're not going to do a Guard of Honour, but, we move on.
League Cup, Celtic, they won that. What do you think? What do you make of Celtic's journey to winning the League Cup? I mean, I guess you could argue they beat top flight opposition on the way.
Yeah.
But
I mean, they got 2 pretty tough away games.
True.
But the teams just didn't turn up in. So.
Yeah. So Celtic then win the League Cup, and we know that they're in the Scottish Cup. I'd say they've had that's a tough run in the Scottish Cup.
Yeah.
You got
Tynecastle.
Rangers, Old Firm semi-final, Tynecastle. I mean, that St Mirren game, I remember, was that not pretty close?
Till he gets sent off or something?
Yeah, the St Mirren got a man sent off late on. There was only one goal in it. Another... And the Greenock Morton, that was another bad decision as well that went against Greenock Morton, that penalty.
Changed the game.
Kevin Clancy, cheating wee bastard. But there you go, guys. That's Celtic's title-winning season. We can look at the Champions League, but we know they didn't really perform in that.
Brilliant. I love to see red.
I know, but you know what? I'm actually going to give them credit here. I think performance-wise, they deserved more than 2 points.
I agree, but at the end of the day, it's if buts maybes. They go, oh, but Rangers, it doesn't matter about performance, it's result. It doesn't matter if you're playing at Ibrox, so fuck them. Right?
No, I get that, like, but I'm not like these wee smelly unwashed bastards. I tell the truth.
I tell the truth too, you know what?
And I believe that based on their Champions League performances, I think they probably deserved to actually qualify for either the next round or at least the Europa League. I don't think based on performances they were the worst team in this group.
Well, see, to break it down, right? See, against Real Madrid, they should have been leading, but Real Madrid scored 3, so therefore I don't think they should have got anything. If we're being honest.
Right, okay, fair enough.
Right? Shakhtar Donetsk, right, they should have won. They missed chances at 1-1, they missed chances at 1-0, so that should have been 3 points. Against Leipzig, both games, I don't think they were that good, honestly. I feel like the 2 games that they should have won was against Shakhtar Donetsk.
Which would have got them third.
Yeah, so would have got them through. But against Leipzig, they weren't good. I don't think they were.
No, they were good. First half, Real Madrid could have been 3-0 up, like, but they lost 3-0, so, I mean, whose fault's that?
Well, I mean, if you want to see a team beat Leipzig, you go to the other side of Glasgow.
Yeah, let's look at the appearances and goals then. We can see that Benjamin Siegrist has not made a league appearance. Do you think they'll give him a league?
What Scott B?
Nope. Do you think they'll give Benjamin Siegrist a league start? Do you think Siegrist regrets this move?
Probably.
No, I mean, he's sitting on the bench. Like, I mean, hasn't played in the Scottish Cup. He's only featured in the League Cup. And even then, they brought Joe Hart in for the games that mattered.
I mean, Celtic fans wouldn't let you think this, but there's not much in it between Hart and Seagrass, man.
I don't think so. We haven't really seen enough of Siegrist in a Celtic shirt.
You know what? This Celtic team's that good, it would make Barkas and Bain look fucking good.
Yeah, I think you could put... See if Barkas was the Celtic goalkeeper, would anything have changed?
No. Joe Hart flaps everything.
They'd still be on for a fucking treble.
Exactly.
In fact, this Joe Hart has very rarely anything to do in the Celtic goals.
Like, seeing the league, I'm not even being funny, right? You could probably put the worst goalkeeper in fucking Scotland in the Celtic team that'd still win everything this season.
Agreed. In terms of strikers, though, we've got Kyogo Furuhashi. I believe he's got, in total, he has 30 goals and 45 appearances. Thoughts on that, man, for Kyogo? That's some going.
No, it is. I mean, he's been phenomenal this season. No complaints about it. And I'd like to see him step it up a level in the Champions League.
He didn't
I'd like to see him. I feel like for him,
that's the next step.
That's the next step.
Because Larson did it in Europe.
Like, see, in my opinion, I think he is better than Edward.
Oh, me too.
Than Dembele. I mean, I think it's weird with Dembele. I mean, Dembele's did it for more years, but I mean, Furuhashi's been doing it in the J League. I don't want to bury the J League.
The J League, but yeah, I think Kyogo Furuhashi. I mean, next season he'll be looking to break his Champions League duct. Surely he'll be.
I think at the end of next season, a lot of Celtic players will be looking to leave.
You think so?
Yeah.
Why?
I just.
What makes you think Celtic players are going to leave next year?
I feel like it's just the end of a cycle. I mean, it's the same with Ange. I feel like it will just get to a point where they feel like they've done all they've needed to do. I'm not saying like Cal McGregor's going to leave. I think there is just certain players that will be at a club more or less for their entire career. But you look at Rangers, you look at Kent Morelos, they've outstayed their welcome. I'm not saying, right, in like 3 years that all of the Celtic team's going to be pish and overweight and be like, well, they should have left 3 years ago, 2 years ago. But I can see Furuhashi, O'Reilly. Who else? I mean, I think Alistair Johnson. I know he's just joined, but I think he'll go in a few years as well. I think the Scottish players will probably stay. Joe Hart will probably retire at Celtic. Carter Vickers, I think, will move on. The Japanese players, most of them will probably. I could see some of them staying, apart from like Furuhashi, like the main one, and Maeda. Yota, I think, will definitely move on. But I do think like McGregor.
So basically, you think this entire Celtic team's going to leave, then Rangers are going to win the league?
No, I didn't say Rangers would win the league. I think with Ange in charge, they'll recruit really well, regardless of who they get rid of. Personally, I mean, be like, I don't think O's good enough to lead the charge if Kurt Furuhashi leaves.
I haven't seen enough, Theo. But I didn't think he'd made 16 appearances already this season.
How many goals has he got?
4.
I mean, it's not too bad considering he's been off the bench, but it's not.
Like, it's hard to judge, so it's not like he's got 16 starts.
True.
I mean, he's averaging, a goal every 4 games.
But then again, man, you feel like if anyone got flung into that Celtic team and stuck up front, they should be getting goals.
You feel like that's the kind of time when Celtic get the goals, when they make the changes and shit. That's when you'd be more likely to open up the score sheets and put more past your opponents. But anyway, guys, screw it, that's it. Celtic are the champions, they do deserve it, so...
Leila Bada to Liverpool, though. I heard that one.
Alright, Leila Bada to Liverpool. I guess we'll find out whether or not that happens. But, Kyogo Furuhashi, I think, has been mega important for Celtic this season. I mean, if you look at the league goals, Kyogo 24, Jota 11, and Abada 10. Only 3 Celtic players got into double figures. Now, does that just show that the goals are coming from pretty much everywhere in the team?
Yes.
Because see with the amount of goals Celtic have scored, I think you would have expected more players to break 10 goals.
I agree.
I think Giamakis would have. If he stayed.
Just look at Carter Vickers hasn't a goal.
I think Giamakis would have, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Got Dyson Maeda on 8. I think Giamakis, if he'd have stayed, he'd have gotten 4 more.
But then again, 6 goals isn't that good for Giamakis. I mean, I just spent time slabbering about but what about Giamakis only 6?
And I would imagine Giamakis probably got more game time than O.
Yeah, I'd say so.
He would have probably got like a rare start and stuff like that, and I think he maybe would have got...
Furuhashi no initiatives for a bit too.
You think he might have been? So, yeah, guys, that is it. We'll catch you in the next one. Celtic are champions, unfortunately, and they probably deserve it. So, yeah, till next time, peace.